10 years ago, when I joined the firm as a single designer where I had to establish the UX and UI practice, I had to hustle, but it was a perfect ground for me to experiment with all the different methods and frameworks. Even if I didn't have a senior who could support me and coach me and guide me, I was doing that myself. I was reading online articles, watching videos, books, courses, and applying it immediately. There was nothing who could stop me. Even if the actual company before I joined didn't get what design was, it was my responsibility to coach them, to tell them this is what UX is about. Another day and another good topic to cover for people who are growing designers, or those who are thinking to switch into design, or those who are working in, difficult positions right now and thinking to move on to better pastures. And this has been gnawing at me for quite some time because I saw this post by one of the influencer designers, which basically stated that life's too short to work for people or organizations or firms who don't get design. And you could kind of glance over it, right? It's not that big of a deal. But the issue is that I also get so many requests and so many questions from juniors, entry-level, seniors, sometimes even lead designers who are asking, hey, how could I get into this firm, let's say FANG firm, Facebook, Apple, Netflix, Google, basically the established firms and organizations who have mature enough design capacity, who already get the design. And this is an issue because I have no idea. You know why? Because I never worked for those firms and I never aimed for it. And it's a question for me, why do so many people strive to work for companies who already have quite mature design capability? This is a video exactly about that. If you think about it, you as a designer, you're gonna develop over the years. You're definitely gonna clock in, 5, 10, 15, 20, even more years of experience as a designer. Majority of you probably going to remain hands-on designers. Some are going to transition into management roles, into leadership roles. But to be a good leader, to be a good manager, to be a good hands-on designer, you must eat enough crap, you must face the challenges and the obstacles to learn from. That's where the issue to me is, because a lot of people think that they might just graduate into UX immediately, that they might just join an established firm and might just be cozy for the rest of their lives and kind of coast to it. And I know that majority don't mean that. They just want, for example, an environment where they can do the best work they can. But the issue I see is that, as a common saying says, that the calm seas don't make for the good sailors. This is exactly the point. All those years you must clock in. Let's say as an entry-level designer, you need 1 to 3 years of experience to join any firm. Sometimes for internships as well, you already need to have other internship experience, which is quite ridiculous, right? But that's the case. That's just a reality. And you know why? Because the hiring managers and the teams who need that additional design resource want a seasoned enough people who know how the real world works and how challenging it can be. If you want to become a leader at the design, you need to strive for the challenges. And I know that for entry-level designers and juniors, it's essential to have a senior to learn from. But do you really need to aim that high for the companies who have only just a few openings and there's thousands of applicants? If you looked on LinkedIn, let's say how many apply for Amazon, Apple, or Netflix, or Google, you're gonna see that we have a handful of openings and there's hundreds of applicants for each of them. So that's why you need to be realistic. You might as well get there at some point, but for now, why would you bother? Go for a company who has good enough UX, who has good enough design understanding, respect, and work there. Apply all those skills you want, hustle for it, challenge them, improve, experiment. 10 years ago, when I joined the firm as a single designer where I had to establish the UX and UI practice, I had to hustle, but it was a perfect ground for me to experiment with all the different methods and frameworks. Even if I didn't have a senior who could support me and coach me and guide me, I was doing that myself. I was reading online articles, watching videos, books, courses, and applying it immediately. There was nothing who could stop me. Even if the actual company before I joined didn't get what design was, it was my responsibility to coach them, to tell them this is what UX is about, this is how we're gonna do it. And even if they would push back, every time you face resistance, every time someone pushes back, every time someone disrespects the practice of user experience. You're gonna learn how to persevere. You're gonna learn how to convince them. You're gonna learn all the ways and the thinking of that opposing force, so that the next time the challenge and the obstacle repeats itself, you know exactly what to do, how to dodge it, how to avoid it, how to influence it. Without that, you will never gonna learn those things. And if you just join a cushy environment and comfortable environment, you're never gonna learn it. You're always gonna remain in that same comfortable space. That's why you should never strive for that. It's your responsibility to convince, to communicate, to evangelize. You are the future leader of a design. Whoever you are, even if you're in a leading position, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Because of every action, of every challenge you face and you influence, you're paving the way for other people, for those who are behind you. Perhaps you're a senior designer and you just joined a firm where you need to establish new practices, get respect for UX, showcase the ROI so that the business knows why they need UX and not just UI design. Maybe you're a first employee. If you're doing good enough job and showcasing it, there's gonna be demand, and demand means expansion of a team, means more designers, and that means for you growth, because you're gonna need to coach them, guide them, show them the ropes, and that's gonna allow you to grow as a leader, as a manager, if you want to do so. But the thought leadership is only gonna happen if you can influence others and if you can share the knowledge with other people. That's why it's so important to not steer away from challenges. Even if some influencers online tells you, hey, you should always strive to work for Googles and things of that nature. It's not realistic for most of us. For 99% of designers, and realistically speaking even bigger numbers, it's not gonna happen. And that's totally fine. You're gonna be the stronger future leader even if you don't join a company which already has an established processes. And lastly, if that's really your future goal to work for one of the biggest companies out there, you can do that. But the only way you can join those firms if you clock in enough of those points I was talking to you about just now, about facing the challenges. You need to have a stellar portfolio, a stellar resume. You need to market yourself well. And the only way it's gonna happen if you build yourself block by block, step by step, becoming better and better and better designer. And it's not gonna just come down to pixel pushing or UI design or technical skills. It's gonna come down to your perseverance, grit, leadership skills. How well do you work with other people? How well do you communicate the value of the design? And many more aspects. But you need to clock in that well-rounded design leader points, which are gonna happen over time and only if you expose yourself to just enough of challenge and resistance. As per usual, what do you think about it? Leave a comment down below, let me know. If you like this video, give a like, sub to this channel. Also, don't forget to check one of these videos, which I'm always leaving to float around. If you like one of them, click and watch and support this channel. Thanks so much, and until next time.